The bar is in hell right now. I mean, it's real low right now. You know?
Let's just give it to him. Why not?
I think it's below hell's crust. That's the type of stuff that Sony's been giving us as of late. Sony knows that they have the rights to the Spider-Verse. And I personally, like from a business standpoint, I don't blame them because they have this deal already with Disney where Disney gets to use Spider-Man in their films, but Sony also gets to get a few of the Marvel characters into their stuff. But they're also making money off of those the Disney Spider-Man produced movies. They're still making that cheddar off of that.
Yeah,
so
they got my money.
That's the thing, though. A lot of these movies have been, with the exception of their animated movies, like you said earlier, you mentioned Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. So currently, right now, that is probably one of the most anticipated part 3s out there.
Yeah.
So they've had a lot of success with those animated films, and a lot of people I thought the first Venom was okay, and a lot of people liked it. Even the sequel, which I did not like, most people I want to say liked it as well.
You're comparing it to this movie. That's why anything compared to this movie is gonna be a step up.
We're off that, Antoine. No more Madam Web. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
It didn't happen.
Recently, though, Morbius, Venom 2, and Madam Web, things are starting to go downhill. And then Sony has the Kraven the Hunter movie coming out in a few months. I think it's 6 months from now.
Can't wait.
Don't have high hopes for that. People say that it's superhero movie fatigue. I disagree. I think it's Sony movie fatigue.
That's exactly what it is. It's Sony. I blame Sony for this whole mess up.
The problem is you're doing these characters whose story works in connection with Spider-Man. So when you don't have Spider-Man there, none of their stories make any sense. You got to invent Peruvian spider people.
Yeah, right. And then he lost his accent when she went down there and she got her power. He started talking plain English, like all of a sudden.
You're talking about the guy that was the spider guy hanging from the tree earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But when she came back, he was just a normal dude. He retired from being a Mexican spider person.
He's not jumping in the trees anymore. He just
If Sony wanted to turn things around, how could they do that?
Put Spider-Man in it.
Well, here's the problem with that, Jason. I don't think that they can.
Exactly.
I might be wrong about this. They could still use Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or even a Toby.
Notice they couldn't say they couldn't name the baby. They couldn't say Uncle Ben. There's just certain things they could say that let me know like maybe they don't have rights to this. So that's
they have the rights, but I think that you're right because I think that some things are blocked due to their deal with Disney. Just like they couldn't really say Aunt May. He was like, I found one this time. She's a keeper. But they didn't say anything.
I may marry her.
Yeah. You know what? That makes sense now that I think about it. They have the rights to some of the characters, but not all of them.
But I don't know that is public information, and I might be wrong. Like I said, I don't think it's public knowledge, but you got to think that Disney would do something to protect that investment.
Yeah.
And at the very least, not allow them to use Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Here's a suggestion that I think would be cool. You already have your animated movies with Miles Morales. Wouldn't it be cool to bring him into live action for the first time?
100%. Beat Mark.
You know what? You might be on to something, but I don't want them to mess that up. Like they're doing real good with the animated. They might mess that up, man.
No, I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe that they would screw part 3 up because they still have most of the same team there. They're taking their time. Initially, that third movie was supposed to come out this year, which would have been a very big mistake. And that with an animated film like that, you have to really be meticulous and take your time.
True.
I don't have fears about that because it's almost like a separate division too. Here's some other projects that we have in the pipeline after Kraven, which comes out in 6 months.
Can't wait.
before the year's over with, we have Venom 3 with Tom Hardy coming back to play Venom, obviously. My theory with the Venom movies, the only good thing about those movies is Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
If it weren't for him playing that role, those movies would be mediocre at best.
They could have did better acting in this one. I don't think they gave them much to work with. The dialogue just sucked.
The writing sucked in Madam Web. The acting sucked. It was like Dakota Johnson didn't even care about being there.
If you've ever seen a Dakota Johnson movie, that's pretty par for the course.
Yeah,
like that's what 50 Shades of Grey is.
That was a 50 Shades Spider movie, basically.
Yep.
So that's how she is in other films?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Okay, so why is everyone trying to say that she's such a great actress?
Because they have to because 50 Shades of Grey made a lot of money.
Made a lot of money and all of that, so they're trying to say, yeah, but this is how she was.
Because I guarantee you, our aunts all went to go see that movie.
And some of our wives.
All of our wives went to see that movie.
Like I said, Venom 3 is coming before the year's up. Okay. And then initially they had El Muerte, who's another Spider-Man villain. It's kind of like a luchador wrestler in the comics. He wears a mask. Initially, they were going to have Bad Bunny play him. He recently pulled out.
Thank God. Thank God. I've never seen him act, but no, that's just scrap.
He'd have done a Canadian Destroyer, though. It would have looked dope.
Well, no, he was in that movie Bullet Train, I think, for a very brief role. He can kind of pull off the slender
bad guy,
yeah, bad A dude.
And dude, he can throw a Canadian Destroyer like you wouldn't believe.
But and I know Jason's referring to, he has ties to the WWE currently, but he doesn't really have that look. This guy is supposed to be jacked like Bane.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he's a decent enough actor, but having someone like Bad Bunny try to carry a film like Tom Hardy,
a whole film. No.
Forget about it.
But after I saw this movie, this Madam Web movie, I said, give him a shot. It can't be worse.
Can't be worse than that.
It cannot be worse.
The bar is in hell right now. I mean, it's real low right now. You know?
Let's just give it to him. Why not?
I think it's below hell's crust.
Well, let me ask you guys' opinion on this, because it kind of seemed like the Spum universe had a plan. Venom shows up, or he gets transported into Peter Parker's world or whatever. Michael Keaton shows up in Morbius, and he's like, I think this might have something to do with Spider-Man. Like, what happened?
Just for reference, Antoine, have you ever seen Morbius?
I watched it. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen Morbius.
The way they bring in Michael Keaton's Vulture, which Jason's saying like Michael Keaton because he never took his helmet off. It was just Michael Keaton's voice. And Michael Keaton rolled up and he's like, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. It has something to do with Spider-Man, I think.
And that's the end. He's like, we should team up.
We should team up.
He never took his helmet off?
No, I never took his helmet off. It's an end credit scene. We should put that in this video.
We will. It's so dumb.
I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
Here's a fun fact. Recently on my YouTube channel, you guys can go back. I did a countdown of the worst 5 post-credit sequences of all time. And that was like number 2 or 3.
What was number 1?
I think it might have been Zack Snyder's Justice League with Jared Leto Joker and Batman dropping the F-bomb.
Oh,
I actually like Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League movie. I like that.
Me too, but the post-credit sequence was really dumb. And Jared Leto, initially I thought that he had potential, like you like to say, Antoine. I did. I thought Jared Leto Joker had potential to be pretty cool. But when he came out in that post-credit sequence, his performance was just so over the top and overbearing and cringy AF. It was bad.
No comment on the Snyder movies.
I'm done with that movie.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about Snyder movies. But I really think that here's the problem when Sony releases these mediocre to bad films. To the general movie-going audience, a comic book movie is a comic book movie is a comic book movie. Like my grandma, she doesn't know the difference between DC and Marvel. Even my parents really don't. You know, like they asked me when we were watching. They asked me when we were watching Endgame, like, "Hey, is Batman going to be in this?" So the general movie-going audience doesn't know the difference between Sony Marvel and Disney Marvel and then DC. So I think it's really a bad thing. I think that Sony should be stopped at this point.
We got
it must be stopped.
Let's go find Sony Studios and burn it to the ground.
Can we have another week?
This was just a money grab. Like this, you can tell, like with the casting and everything, it was just a money grab. That's all it was. They're trying to ride the wave of woke culture. That's all it is. Like it's a money grab.
What was woke about it, Twan?
What was woke about it? The whole casting, the whole everything. Yeah, but I'm just relaying it to the one that I seen.
We lost him.
He's gone.
He's woke.
He knew too much, dude. Sony cut him off.
Sony must have cut Antoine's feed. He was really getting to the meat of it. Apparently, the executives over at Sony cut his live feed.
Hey, don't like Madam Web, huh?
iPad died. Even Apple knows the movie sucked. LMAO. So he's going to kind of be like hodgepodge at the end of the first episode and at the beginning of the second. Honestly, at the end of the day, I do not see things improving over at Sony. Like I said, from a business standpoint, I get why they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to make as much money as they can, and they're not going to give away those rights to Disney. They would be bat crap crazy to do that. So what I would propose is for them and Disney to try to come to some agreement. $2 to $3 billion, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe we could sell the Spider-Verse stuff, but it's probably not going to happen because once again, they're making too much money with their animated Miles Morales stuff. They also do have some mild success with the Venom movies. I mean, I think I heard somewhere that the first two Venom movies combined made like $1.2 billion, which is crazy. It's a cash cow for them right now.
It's the only hit they have right now.
Yeah,
it's their only franchise. I think they're doing Twisters though, so like maybe the Twister universe will take off, and they'll just be like, "We don't need this Marvel universe anymore."
The only way that Sony would ever consider getting rid of such a cash cow is if Kraven was bad, if Venom 3 was bad, and then El Muerte or something else, like 3 straight flops. Then they might try to come to the negotiating table with Disney.
Either that, or they need to get hacked again.
That would be helpful.
That would help.
North Korea. Kim Jong-un. You already got rid of Antoine in this feed. Now we need you to kill the Sony universe. Inject with a lethal dose of poison. You want to know how much of a loser I am, Jason? I put this nice, clean shirt on just for this podcast.
I put on a work shirt. I didn't go to work today. Just for a joke. That's going to be like 15 minutes. Come on for the lulz.
That's my biggest fear is that Sony's bad movies are going to drive the whole superhero genre into the ground.
That and DC. Compared
to what Sony's been pumping out, DC is the MCU.
I didn't really care for Black Adam at all. I didn't like Flash. I'm hoping this new Superman movie. This is the one. They got to nail this one.
I think it's going to be the one.
It's got to be the one. It's got to be. I just want a Superman. I want to be happy.
I think that he's going to I was trying to make a joke that made fun of you, but I couldn't think of it quick enough.
I just wanted to be flying and be like, life's not so bad. I can fly.
I think he's going to let his dad die in a tornado. Okay. Well, Jason, thanks so much for joining me, man. I appreciate it. Folks, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on the social. Make sure you always drink your Pepsi. And until next time, have a good one.